Welcome back to another episode of Empowered with Dr. Lawrence. I am your host, Dr. Lawrence Salone, and today we're going to talk about money. Well, why money? Well, I'm glad you asked. Listen, all across the country right now, we're seeing unprecedented levels of anxiety, and that's coming from three things: chronic stress, isolation, and ADLs. ADLs are activities of daily living. What that means is people aren't sleeping properly, they're eating the wrong things, and they have the wrong things in their environment. So their body and their mind. But today we're going to focus on chronic stress because when I look at the data, chronic stress is rooted in money. Now, chronic stress by definition is an elevated fight or flight response for a prolonged period of time. So all across America, in all kind of environments, our workplace, at our home, in our relationships, people are dealing with chronic stress and it's rooted in money. So look, let's dive in, get ready. We're going to talk about it today. Look, if you're new to Empowered with Dr. Lawrence, first of all, I want to say thank you. And no matter how you're receiving this, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, Apple Music, Spotify, I want to say thank you. Whether somebody sent you a link, that means they thought enough about what we're doing here to send you the link. And so, again, I want to tell them thank you. But what we talk about here is faith, empowerment, and freedom. Now, when I say faith, I mean, how do we operationalize the Bible? How do we take it and make it work in our day-to-day lives? When we say empowerment, you're going to leave here equipped to accomplish the goals that you have in life. And when we say freedom, look, freedom is a state of mind. It allows us to thrive. It allows us to do the things that we set out to do. So we discuss our belief systems. We discuss the equipment that you need, whether it's clinical, whether it's, personal, highly focused on you as an individual. You're going to leave equipped to live in a free state of mind. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for supporting us. As always, look, I'd ask you to like and subscribe. And when you find this meaningful, share this with someone else like they shared it with you. It means a lot. It helps us spread the messages we're trying to accomplish. So let's dive in. Mental health right now in the United States affects the economy to the tune of $6.3 trillion every year. Now let that sink in, $6.3 trillion. Now, depression and anxiety are the normal things that we see when we start looking at the mental health impact on the economy. But pre-pandemic, since before the pandemic started, we're seeing unprecedented levels of anxiety. Now let's dive, the scientist in me looks at when we see an underserved population, expand and almost explode, bells go off in me and I want to know why. Well, when I looked at the data, when I scoured the data, it boiled down to three things: chronic stress, isolation, and improper ADLs. Now, as I said before, ADLs are activities of daily living. That means we're not sleeping well enough. We're not eating the right things. We may be taking on drugs or illicit drugs that we should not be. We're putting things in our environment that we shouldn't. And all that has an effect on our anxiety. But today we're going to talk about money. So if you've ever said, I hate my job, or you feel the pressure to get more than one job, or you feel the pressure to the holidays are coming around and you're overly concerned about money, that keeps us in a state of fight or flight. Now, this is such a broad topic and we'll dive deeper into it as this series goes on, but I want to focus on the money aspect. Money is a tool, right? It's a result of processes and systems. And so when I see people all across the country impacted about money, one of the things that bothers me and that brings to mind is that they're in the wrong lane. What does that mean? Are you in a position, are you staying in a job because of money, or do you feel that you need that? Well, that's a problem. And that in itself creates stress. Now, Deuteronomy 8:18, one of my favorite scriptures says, I've given you the power to generate wealth. Why? part B of that says to do the things I've called you to do. What that means is you're here for a reason. There are things that you are uniquely good at that no one else is good at. And a lot of times what I've seen is we're not focused on our purpose. We're focused on the financial side of things. And that leads to chronic stress. So when I look at the anxiety, everybody's concerned about, am I going to lose my job to AI? Am I going to be able to make the mortgage and so forth? Listen, I have a belief system that money is created. What do you mean, Doc? Money is created. That means the things that I'm good at. I'm going to put it to you a different way. I was told this growing up as a boy. If you line yourself up with what people need, you'll never go broke. I'll add to that and say that if you line yourself up with what people need and you do something that you love, money will never be a concern. Yes, normal ebbs and flows of business, you have more than in other times. But the reality of it is money is created. And so when I look at some of the stressors right now and some of the articles I've read in the last month or two, and everybody's overly concerned and impacted about AI. Here's what I've seen. Over the last 4 decades, smart people aren't going into medicine, right? What are they doing? They're going into tech, right? The liability isn't there and such and so forth. The quality of life is improved. And that's a natural response. So here are the things that I want to introduce to particularly the younger folks that are watching us. What can we do today? What can we do in this season to take the stress of money off the table? Right now, the U.S. economy is headed to a cliff. The Department of Labor is projecting some egregious shortages in our skilled labor, right? And when I look at, is everybody supposed to go to college? Maybe not. When I look at, the over concern with AI, you know what AI is not going to take? It's not going to impact. It's not going to, these jobs won't be stolen by AI. HVAC, plumbers, welders, electricians, those things will be AI proof, right? When I look at here in Louisiana, we're again, as a country, and we're no different from that. As a country, we're headed to a dangerous time where in the next 5 to 10 years, the skilled labor, the knowledge base in those industries, these folks aren't getting any younger. And we don't have an appreciable amount of young folks coming into this area. So I see that as an opportunity. So if you're in college right now, and college may or may not be your thing, these are some of the things that we can consider. The average salary here in Louisiana, the average salary of a plumber is north of $220,000, right? Now, they have unique programs right now where applications and they make it, the applications, the fees for those things are paid for. They make it extremely easy for you to get into these programs, and they have a roadmap laid out. They have the electricians guild, they have the welders guild. And what that means is there is an environment where, they train you and then they release you to go out and impact the society, because these are the things that you need. My electrician, with the various locations that we have and the things that I have going on, when my electrician gets called out, he makes $265 just for the call out. Okay. So when I see tension and anxiousness centered around money, I almost want to just say, hey, wait. What are you good at? Let's go and find a way to do that. One of the young ladies that works at our offices here in Baton Rouge, she's a bit of an influencer. She's making money on the internet. Not that everybody needs to be an influencer, but the reality of it is she's talking about things that she loves and people are resonating with it and she's paying for it. So when I see chronic stress, physical impacts on someone's body because of money, my first thought is to tell them, what are you good at? What can you create? What can you introduce into the world? And listen, as a young man growing up, my folks would tell us, you should have multiple things that multiple streams of income. I'll say it that way. And what better time in history than to do that today? So listen, at the end of this, in the description, you're going to see links to electrical, plumbing, HVAC. Look, let me stay on HVAC for a second. It is the winter time where I am, right? South Louisiana, it's 78 degrees. Okay, so it's hot all year long. We kind of need our AC guy. And guess what powers AC? The electrician, right? So here's the thing. There are so many things that are available to us today that allows us to overcome or to give an alternative source of income or to give us options as it applies to money. But the thing I think it starts with is, what are you good at? I made you for a reason. That there's some things that are uniquely that are uniquely you. So what are you going to do with that? Because there'll never be another you on the face of this earth. You have a gift. You have a duty. Even I would say you have a duty to share your perspective, your gift with the world. And if you do that, chances are you can earn a living doing it. So listen, guys, the links are in the description. If you like content like this, please share this with somebody that needs to hear this. If you are stressed, absolutely. Let's look at the root cause of why that is. But if it is, in fact, rooted with money, my ask is to look internally. What are you good at? What is something that you can offer to the world that's going to produce the money that you need? Because, again, money is created. So look, this is Dr. Lawrence. That's all we have for today for this message about chronic stress. If you are, in fact, someone that is dealing with chronic stress and you feel like you're overwhelmed and you don't have the tools to deal with it, in the link below is a link to Post-Trauma Institute. They offer virtual mental health services. So therapy, medication management, psychological testing, substance use services all across the Louisiana, communities across Louisiana. So if you're in need of those services, click the link below. You'll be in great hands. So again, this is Dr. Lawrence. Thank you for tuning in today. Look forward to next time. Take care. You know, I wanna look at when we think about money, right? The devil's advocate, if you will. People come in and say, well, you don't know my situation. And my response is going to be, irrespective of what your pushback is going to be, money is created. And if you're having money problems, right? What are you good at? What are you doing? Can you do the things that you love? Because when you do something that you love, you put your passion behind it. And when people see passion, there's a transfer of confidence that happens. A lot of time when we look at impoverished communities, I see a lack of production, internal production. What that means is they've gotten into a place where they either don't know or they haven't been taught, educated on the fact that what they bring to the table brings value. And that's, when you look at any marginalized community, when you get back to the creative side, when you get back to the things that matter, magic happens. Well, it could be a recipe, man. I was in Chicago in March of this year, and this lady is $10-20 million company, and she started off with her grandmother's recipe for cookies, $20 million from cookies. And she grew up in a 1-bedroom, whatever they call it in Chicago. And now she's $20 million company. Why? Because she knew how to make cookies in the hood, cookies. And then, you think about, I have a friend of mine. He is, and I may have shared this with you before. My man cuts grass and he has 2 Lamborghinis. He takes off a month of the year and rides around. He has enough money he rides around, he gets tickets. He doesn't care. It's a bunch of friends. They ride around the country for a month just to see how fast they can go. And he just cuts grass. And I'm like, we overcomplicate things sometimes because we're stuck in a reality. Um, if we can ever learn to focus, quiet the room, quiet the noise, focus on the things that we're good. The, you are a gift. Your gifts make room for you. It doesn't say where you grew up. It doesn't say your last name. It doesn't say what education you have. It says that your gifts make room for you and to bring you in front of powerful people. So going back to the young lady in Chicago, she took cookies on a stove that came with the apartment that she was in, and she sold it enough that now she had, and it didn't take years. I mean, this is within, I would say a 5-year period or whatnot, but it's a tremendous success story. She believed in the cookies so much. She perfected that thing so much, and she got it in front of the right people, and they put an engine behind her. Now she is a $20 million company from cookies. I can't make cookies. I can eat cookies. Now I'm thinking of Cookie Monster. Yeah, he probably bought all those cookies, and now my girl got $20 million. But it starts with what's inside of you. What are you good at? What are your frustrations? What do you see in the world that needs to change? That's your superpower. That's your gift. That's your cue to go out and change. Why? Because that's put in you to go and solve that problem. Man, if we could just get that as a country and look within, not to, a company or to the government or to whomever, within you, your gifts make room for you. And when we do that, man, great things happen. And that's, I don't know how this message is going to be received, but the reality of it is, when you want to do better, you can. And the reality of it is, maybe it's not cookies. Maybe it's not cutting grass. Maybe you can cut hair. Maybe you can sing. Maybe whatever it is, my life experience, when I've studied successful people, the things that I've done on my own, there's nothing that can convince me that money isn't created. So if it's 330 something million people in this country, and half of which are stressed to the tune of $6.3 trillion a year. Man, that bothers me. If I could get on the biggest megaphone possible and tell them, look, your solution to your problem is internally. Now, this would kill all the politicians and the lies that they all tell on both sides. I don't sit there and start that crap. But the reality of it is, it's within you. And when we can get people to do that, oh man, how much better could this world be? FedEx was started because my man kept getting his mail late. One of the largest companies in the world today, because my man couldn't get his mail on time. It was a frustration. He had a plan. He brought a solution. He created the solution. And look at the jobs, the careers, the families, the retirement, the healthcare, all that stuff that came because my man didn't like to get his mail late.